Good morning,
Good morning.
and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Chico. My pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm always glad to be here. I'm always glad to be here, and we are pleased as a center and the board that you were here, and you make the service better by being here, because you bring with you your sense of love and your sense of community and your sense of who you are. And it flavors the family that we call the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Chico. If you are here for the first time, I'd like to invite you to, I think I've met all of you this morning, the one new person I welcome, and from Yuba City, Marysville, and now living in Chico. And but I'm always available after service if you have a question about the lesson. Now, this is the fifth Sunday of the month, and this is Practitioner Sunday. And I want you to know that practitioners are here to serve today in many capacities, food, and we provided food along with other volunteer people serving food. And thank you, Diane, for keeping us on task. I appreciate your reminder. So food, greeting, prayer treatment, we're here to support you. So know your love and thank you. Well, this month our theme is living in love through honesty. And my affirmation this month, which is in your program, is I am honest with myself when I trust the God I am. Let's say that together. I am honest with myself when I trust the God I am. How'd that feel?
Good.
The God I am. I had a hard time with that at first. I'm not God. But I'm an aspect, an example, a living expression of the God self. And as human, we move toward that which we came from, which is the God self. Whenever we hear affirming words like that, there's a resonance within us. That said, oh yeah, I am. That's me. And that's what brought me to this teaching, Science of Mind. Because I always heard, you're a sinner. You're going to hell if you don't get baptized in this church. And then if you went to this church, even though you're baptized over here, you had to get dunked in this one. Now, the symbolism is affirming, because sometimes we have to get dunked a few more times to get it. It takes a reminder many times. It's like, do I really love enchiladas? I do. But I have to remind myself often that, yeah, I love it. So I order it often. And so spirituality is the same way. This teaching is the same way. We have to order it up often. We have to affirm often who we are truly. And so my lesson, The Rise of Spirit, will talk about that today. The rise of spirit. So I'll begin with a call and response, and that is, we'll do this 3 times. I'll speak it, you'll respond. Okay? You with me?
Yeah, sure.
Good morning, consciousness.
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 Woohoo! Thank you. Consciousness is mental awareness. So, for me, this is who we are in the beginning of all we experience as this life. Consciousness. Consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. This teaching called Science of Mind is telling us all the time that consciousness is creative. but not discriminative. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't care what you say you believe, doesn't judge it. It just gives you it in some form or experience or fashion in your life. Because consciousness is subject to all of the beliefs that we have. No. The scary part is the unknowns that we carry with us. It's whatever stories you tell yourself and to the world, consciousness is subject to that and reacts to that. Because the stories contain all the words and the language of our inner belief about ourselves. And it places that into like a big spiritual suggestion box called universal consciousness. You see, I believe that we are speaking into a vast reservoir, if you will. What are those these days? They're coming back. Vast reservoir of potentiality. And even like Lake Oroville right now. It's potential. It's a vast reservoir. It looks less than. But I know that the divine flow, the proper timing for this nature to provide will come about. It's not our time, it's God's time. The Bible said, in the beginning was the Word. Well, I was raised to be a person of my word. I was very, very strong in my household. I was taught that my word is a promise. It's a conviction. But sometimes my promise was to please someone else. Well, through this teaching, I learned that I could be honest with myself. Because some of those promises were good for me, and some of those were good for me in a different way. So I learned to be honest with myself through this teaching, because there is the within that wants out. There's that within us that wants to express itself. There's the true of you, anxious to say, here I am. It wants to be seen and felt and heard through you. What are you going to let out? I call it the inner knower. I want that inner knower, the God self, to be given the opportunity and allow it out. Consciousness is your answered prayer. Consciousness is your nearest and dearest friend. Consciousness never deserts you. So cherish the wisdom of your honest God self. Because the awareness causes spirit to rise to a new level of understanding. And that's what we're about, understanding. Understanding ourselves and what we believe. And we do that through each experience. And each experience results in a greater understanding and also an expression of you. So I have a imaginary little trip for you. Close your eyes if you will. Imagine you're standing before an open elevator. Will be your consciousness. And you step into the elevator, so you've had volition and choice to move in. Third step, you have multiple choices here. Which floor do you choose? Which level of belief do you move to? You want to go to the penthouse? You want to stay where you are? You want to stay in the basement? Move down. What do you want? What do you say you deserve? Okay, step out of the elevator. The honest truth about that example is that we choose, through our belief, the level of consciousness we experience. Faith will result in a rise. Doubts and fears can immobilize, can jam, can even move us down in consciousness, in belief. So we then create, through our belief, our ups and downs in our life. Now they've come. I've had some lately. I've had some. But they're very therapeutic when we know they are here to serve us, and then we get to move through them. So which ones are you feeding? Which ones are you contributing to? The ups or the downs or the status quo? You see, consciousness is impersonal. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It just loves us and supports us. Because it's your nearest and dearest and always supporter of your beliefs. Ernest Holmes tells us in The Science of Mind, we should not fool ourselves about any demonstration. We know there's a state of consciousness which can heal instantly. But if we do not arrive at this in a moment, we should never admit defeat. There's understanding in every situation. So if we take the moment to pause and re-choose on our elevator of consciousness, we're always a choice. And I think sometimes some of the greatest choices, not all of them, are in periods of seeming, oh my God. Because we're stopped. We have to go, it stops us. And so if we know that it stops us, then there's a purpose for that. Stopping, we get to rethink, we get to re-choose, and we get to move, if we choose. Be honest with yourself. Many times we put on a mask of other people's expectations. I've done that. We call them ours, don't we? We call them ours. They are the should-bes. You should be a teacher. You should be an attorney. You should be a musician. You should do cartwheels in the circus. I don't know. Some sound fun at the moment, but are they really ours to do and to be and to carry for our entire life? You're a worm of the dust. No, I'm not. I've acted like it, but I'm not really in truth. So be honest with yourself. Look on the inside. What is your highest good to be expressed? I don't know that. You know that. If you don't know that, talk with a practitioner. Get to know that. How would Spirit rise and shine in you? Eckhart Tolle writes in The Power of Now, it is essential to bring more consciousness into your life in ordinary situations, when everything is going relatively smoothly. Did you get that? It is essential to bring more consciousness into your life in ordinary situations where everything is going relatively smoothly, like right here. It's easier to taste, isn't it? In this way, you grow in presence power, sitting in the presence of the truth. It generates an energy field in you and around you of a high vibrational frequency. No unconsciousness, no negativity, no discord or violence can enter that field and survive, just as darkness cannot survive the presence of light. So the more we can stay in this consciousness of presence power, the less easily we're moved off of our truth. Doesn't mean we get to sit on the high horse, but it kind of is consciousness. It's not better than, it's just an elevated sense of consciousness. Every time you have a conscious recognition of the spirit within you, your deepest and most loving part of you is validated. Every time you have a conscious recognition of the spirit within, your deepest and most loving part of you is validated. And I say that because there again, it brings us to a stop in our busyness. When we get to savor our spiritual aspect as our very foundation for living. You are elevated to more fully a state of awareness and knowledge, truth. And it raises the level of understanding. And it opens you to the greater potential that you have in this life. Remember this. You are always at the starting point of the next great you. Always. The call is to begin saying yes to that which wants out. You're honest to God's self. I trusted that recently. I had the want to get out a spirit that said, I feel the urge to do a little ritual scattering of Reverend Louis. And this was a week ago Saturday. And I invited his brother and his nephew. And so out of Quincy to Johnsville we go, to where his grandparents settled from Italy. And his mother was born. And we would go up there, and so I knew the lay of the land. I knew where Joseph and Mary, his grandparents, are buried. And so I invited anyone in the family to come. I was totally open to all or the three that went. So I was looking for a vessel. I said, okay, Spirit, what's looking around the house? Up in a very special place was his baby cup. That was it. On the side was a picture of a rabbit. He was born the year of the rabbit. Now, I don't think his mother knew that, because she didn't, look at the Chinese calendar. I don't believe. But that was the truth. So that was used. And what I saw happen was, took the trowel, I took some water, took some flowers, I had all the props that I thought we'd need. But the brother then grabbed the trowel as a mason and said, it has to go here. And I went, oh, you're right. You are right. So there is that spirit that rises up that says, this is right, this is true, this is good, this is honest. And when it's spoken back to you in that way, you know if it's honest. You sense that, you feel that it rises up. And I got this rush. We've all had the rush, yeah? Not just from caffeine. But we've all had this rush of, oh, yeah. It's all connected. It's all one. And so all the masks were removed in that moment. And we hugged and cried. And it was a beautiful day in all ways. And there was the healing. There was the healing. So I'm so grateful for that. It happens all the time. You have to go, whoa, stop, And let spirit rise up and listen. And so, as you move out this week, return more to your inner self, the true of you. Allow your consciousness to be nurtured, expanded. It's already bigger than we can ever. It's limitless. We have brought it in to our ability to believe. So stretch a little bit. Do this. Put your arms out. Stretch. Symbolic stretch. Okay. So, doesn't that feel good? But within, stretch your ability to imagine more, to accept more, because it's waiting in recognition of it. So God bless you on your journey. Namaste.